Now we shall move to the guardianship. What does it mean? It is same. You have already studied in the first semester of Hindu law how the parents will take welfare measurement of securing, providing security and wishing for the good future of their children by providing all roti, kapda, makan, swasti or education, shiksha. Why there is? Guard. One has to guard, ward. So without warding or guarding, we cannot grow up like this. And it is the bounded duty of the parents to look after their infants, or nothing but a component of future society and nation. To what extent, in what morality, in what ethics and etiquette they will look after, such good characteristic, conduct will be seen in those infants. And in turn they may help in beneficiary to construct the nation or society in an order with public tranquility and peace. Okay, so guardianship here it is known as vilayat. Guardianship in Muslim law is known as vilayat. All minors as well as major must have to be guarded by the elders who are having experience in their lifestyle to see that ritually, religiously, spiritually, socially, all put together in a very, very better way, they must be made to group. So minor and major. What is this one? Minor and major. By age only we will determine it as a minor. In Muslim, minority and majority. Minors are those persons who are below the age of 7 years and puberty in case of girl child. When a boy is 7 years old, under the classical Muslim law, they will consider him as a child and he will be looked after by the parents intactly because he has been considered as a minor. After 7 years, post to 7 years, he will be termed as a major. In deciding for marriage, divorce and divorce matter, a boy of 7 years and more will be considered by the Muslim community or under the classical Muslim law as a major if he happen to only in the term of marriage, divorce and divorce. For girl, this is for boy, a boy. For a girl, up to the age of 15 years or to the period of puberty, and if she become woman, lady, that's puberty, gynecologically, she is mature. A minor boy is one who is within 7 years, and after 7 years under the classical Muslim law may be considered as a major fellow for these aspects like marriage, divorce and divorce. For other, Indian Majority Act of 1875 will come into picture for purchase of any property, going for mortgage, going for loan, and also for any other thing which the Constitution of India or the Indian provision says. For that, yes, Indian statutory laws will come into picture. For this, Minor is the one who is within 7 years. And after 7 years, he can decide for these three things of his own, provided he declares himself a potence. And here also 15 years old girl, to her puberty or not getting the puberty, she may go for this one, marriage. And if a minor happen to go for this one, yes, they must have their parents alive. If not, any one of the relatives must come as a guardian. Why guardianship is must? Yes, they will give a way to lead the life. Owing to their experiences, they will lead us to go along with this life stretch. This is one. The purpose other than marriage, divorce, for the purpose other than marriage, divorce, the age of majority is governed by the Indian Majority Act of 1875. Under this act of age of majority is 18 years, as we know. A Muslim who has not attained the age of 18 years is known as a minor in respect of all matter except this three. Where a Muslim is within the supervision of a guardian, where a Muslim minor is under the supervision of the guardian appointed by the court of law, or is a Muslim whose property has been under supervision of the court of wards, the age of majority for such Muslim is 21 years. Up to the age of 21 years, he must be under years you have to wait, not 18 years exactly. For the purpose of marriage, divorce, a Muslim becomes adult after attaining the age of puberty in case of girl and 7 years and more in case of boy. And for filing a suit in a court of law, the minimum age is 18 years, even to the girl child, in relation to the divorce, marriage and getting the dower amount. Next, coming to the classification, it's a very simple. You people having some background content, contextual this one in the Hindu law. It is according to Hindu law. The thing is, it is the foremost responsibility of husband to make arrangement to look after the parentage as well as guardian of all of his children. It is the foremost bounded duty, responsibility, duty not to be escaped of. He should take care of them. If parent, that is say father is dead, the father has to be looked after only by the father's father. If father's father is already dead, any of the alliances, any of his members, family members, or ascender or descender, they have to take care of this. In no way relatives from mother's side will come into the picture to look after the boys and girls of the deceased son-in-law lawfully, religiously. That is only the one constant contravention found in this between the Muslim law and the Hindu law. It is the bounded duty of the father to look after their children. Though he is earning or not earning, or earning lesser to his wife, wife role doesn't come. On mutual understanding, on humanity, and to her intimacy she may. That is left to her own decision. However, compulsorily, father has to look after. So, in that respect, here in our in our maternal pattern type of family are there, paternal pattern type of family. Here the father is the head of the family, he will look after. There are some families under Hindu law where mother happen to be the head of the family, she looks. Aliya Santana will also go and involved in that one. So in that way it differs a lot. So coming to the classification, as you know, you have already know all this. Natural or legal guardian. Natural or legal guardian. Second one, testamentary or certified by any persons. Testamentary or certified person. Court may appoint a guardian. That is known as de jure. Next, de facto one, according to in the absence of natural, testamentary and their close relative or distant relative will identify a particular persons to look after the activities of the minor. So that fellow, particularly identified person, will be treated as a de facto guardian. So coming to the natural guardian, just I will give a bird eye view because it is a known chapter to you people. So natural guardian is a person who has a legal right to control and supervise the activity of the child. For you, in a sentence, I would like to say that father is known as the natural guardian. This is the only one sentence you have to underline. Father is recognized as the natural guardian to all of his children under Muslim law. But in the absence of father, father's executor may also act as a legal guardian. Executor is a person who is appointed by the father or grandfather to act as a guardian of this minor child. If not father's father, that is grandfather, they have to be the executor and they have to look after the lifestyle of the child. Coming to the second one is testamentary guardian. What does that mean? Testamentary guardian is a person who is appointed as a guardian of a minor under will. Testamentary document is nothing but a will or coercion, codicil. So, testamentary guardian is a person who is appointed as a guardian of a minor by a will or under a will. Only father or in his absence the parental grandfather has right to approve for the testamentary guardian. After appointment, yes. And this testamentary fellow or guardian need not to be a Muslim. Anybody, even non-Muslim boy, a non-Muslim aged person, or even non-Muslim female can also become a testamentary, provided they will get a faith in them by the parental side of the minor. In Shia only, a non-Muslim cannot be appointed as a testamentary guardian. In Sunni, everything will go okay. But strictly Orthodox people are the Shia and they won't allow testamentary document where non-Muslim should enjoy. Guardians appointed by the court, they are known as de jure. Court are empowered to appoint any person of their choice or those certain person are certain by the family in totality as the guardian. Court will appoint a person or empowered a person to a guardian. This may go upon the minor's application also. Minor can go with application to the court, and there he can beg for this one, and his prayer will be solemnized by the court by appointing a person of his choice as a guardian. Any person desirous of being or claiming to be the guardian of the minor, or any relative or the friends of the minor, or the collector of the district in which the minor is generally reside, that will be decided by either collector or court judge, or even to the plea of the minor. If the court is satisfied that it is for the welfare of the minor, if the court is satisfied that it is for the welfare of the minor that an order should be made, then it will make an order by appointing a guardian of minor to look after him personally, as well as to take care of his property. Nothing should be done except to the order of the court. Declaring a person to be such a guardian, that fellow is known as the de jure guardian. Coming to the last one, de facto guardian. What does it mean? A de facto guardian is a person who is neither a legal guardian nor a testamentary or statutory guardian, but has himself assumed the custody and care of a child. He himself come forward and he will take with love the care of the child, and he will accordingly perform his duty without giving a room for any kind of confusion or any disruption. So according to the Thyabi, a de facto guardian means an unauthorized person who, as a matter of fact, has custody of the person of a minor or his property. It may be said that a de facto guardian is a person having no authority for the guardianship, but under the circumstances has taken the responsibility to act voluntarily as the guardian of the minor. This events happens often and often. Next, coming to this guardianship and guardians. Power and functions of the guardian. Yes, power and functions of the guardian. Power, functions. This is very important, and in question, main question or short note question may come up. So the power and functions of guardian are like this. Guardianship of the person. Guardianship of the person. Hizamat. What is this one? Hizamat. They will say hizamat. Guardianship of the person. Property of a minor. Marriage of a minor. There are only three scenarios under which a guardian can make use of his power and function effectively to bring forth the good scenario for the benefit of the minor. One is the person of a minor, property of the minor, and marriage of a minor. These are the three important. Whenever the power and functions will be asked, you have to write down under these three paras. First one is the person of a minor, guardian as the for the property of minor, guardian to solemnize the marriage of a minor. These are the three. Coming to the first one. Guardianship of the person. Hizamat is the word called. Guardianship of the minor person means the custody of the minor. Hizanat, Hizanat. Guardianship of the minor person is known as Hizanat, and is also called Vilayat-e-nafs, N-A-F-S. Vilayat-e-nafs is known as the custody of the minor. Isanat. The guardianship of the child's person means overall supervision of the child during his minority. He must take the boy in his custody and see that all stages of his care, child care must be brought up with good sense. But as I have already said, that although mother is not a natural guardian to the child under Muslim law, but she has a right to the custody of her child till the age ascertained by the court to a kind of specific age, say 7 years or so. But father or paternal grandfathers has a control over the person of the minor during the whole period of minority, or the de facto guardian. Next, mother's right of custody. That is only the thing. She is not the natural guardian. However, it may be noted that mother is entitled to the custody of her child under the age of 7 years or below the poverty in case of girl child, and even if she has been divorced by the husband or has become widow, she can take care of them. But the thing is, provided she has to remain unmarried. She has to remain unmarried. This comes in the case of S. Rahman Fatima versus Sayyid Bidunuddin Parvez. Next coming, father's right of custody. Father's right of custody. It is the bound duty of the fathers to look after the minor till he will become major, and the girl undergoes the puberty, and every ritualistic, customary thing has to be done in the favor of those personalities. Coming to the second one, guardianship for marriage. Even property is also there. Property there, it will go according to the family's nature and the need of the other. But in the case of de jure guardianship, every action has to be approved by the court. Then only you will take care of the activities and see that something good shall come for the child in his future activity. So guardianship for marriage, that is zabar, I will say. Vilayat, nikah or zabar. What does it mean? Guardianship for the marriage. Here, marriage or undergoing nikah is guaranteed. Any Muslim boy of 7 years can go for marriage. Or the girl within her puberty days, she can go for the marriage. Then how to control them? How to guide them? Why one has to guide them? Because ritualistic ceremonies are there. That should be cope up. And for the good of their own children and betterment of their future, yes, guardian, availability of guardian is a must. And the provisions under the Guardians and Wards Act of 1819 also say the same thing. For marriage of a minor, I may say. In respect of boy, father, paternal grandfather or how high soever, brother, mother, maternal relation, and Qazi or the courtman. they can come into the picture and see that marriage could be solemn, provided if he is a major or in case of minor, he must proclaim himself that he is having potency enough to carry on the marriage, giving the dower, and if time permits or time occurs, then even for the divorce. So everything he has to face, and for facing, if he is having a potency, talent and money enough, yes, strength enough, he can go ahead with this one. So that is there. That is, and during that period, guardian will also help. Guardian usually come and help the girl to go for all these activities. So next, coming to the guardianship of the property. Father, executor appointed by the father under his will, paternal grandfather, and executor appointed by the grandfather at paternal side under his will. All these four members put together will look after the property matter of the minor. And coming to the transfer of immovable property by the legal guardian. Here is the legal guardian. Nothing will be done by that person unless he will hear or look at the order duly issued by the court. A legal guardian has no authority to sell the immovable property of his minor ward. But in the following exceptional circumstances, the legal guardian is perhaps authorized to sell the immovable property for the good future of the minor. 1. Whereby the sale, the guardian can get double or more the value of the existing property's price. And if it is a very good opportunity, by selling currently, the property, if he is able to get an unknown sum, a huge sum, then yes, court may permit. Where the sale is absolutely necessary for the maintenance of the minor, go sell and maintain the buy. Then there is neither any movable property nor any other alternative for the livelihood of the minor. Then available property or sources can be sold out. Third point, where the sale is necessary for the satisfaction of the debt, where the sale is necessary for the satisfaction of the debt incurred by the deceased father of this minor, then the inherited property has to be sold in accordance to the court decision. Fourth point, where there are some general provisions in the will of the testator, general provision in the will of the testator, the man who create the will, such as the payment of legacies which cannot be complied with without sale of the property. It is inevitable to sell. So, with selling the property only, he can come and adjust the scenario. Then, yes, he is allowed to go for that one by the court. Where the property, fifth one is where the property ceases to be a beneficial property. Ceases to be a beneficial, it is of no use, burden. Its expenses such as taxes or its maintenance charges, etc., which exceeds the income, then it is better to sell off. Sixth point, where the property is in the hands of an usurper who assumed to be wrongfully in possession of that property quantum, and the guardian has a reasonable belief that the property cannot be recovered from such person. The sixth point. Last, final, being the seventh point is where the property is decaying or being destroyed, or there is an imminent danger of its being lost. At such circumstances, yes, the guardian has to seek the approval of the court and see that everything will be set right. Coming to the mortgage. The legal guardian's right to mortgage the minor property is the same as that of the sale. A guardian is not authorized to mortgage his ward's property except the interest of minor or for his good future or to see the prosperity of that minor with or being without the property incurring, and to stop, there must be a stoppage of incurring losses. Sorry. Lease, mortgage and lease. These are the very important and life-saving things, but that should not be handled by the guardian very at ease, only to the court decision or to the opinion of community or family members he must proceed. The guardian's power to grant lease of the minor's property is also subject to condition that it must be for the advantage of the minor. Everything must be for the welfare, good future of the minor. Because safeguarding his reputation, safeguarding his life, safeguarding his future is the welcome sign of all these activities done by the known, recognized, appointed guardian. The legal guardian is therefore authorized to lease out the property only if it is for the benefit of the ward. However, it is submitted the guardian's power to lease out the minor's property does not extend beyond the minority of the ward. Therefore, the lease must be for a term not exceeding the minority. With this, I will conclude guardianship chapter under Muslim law. And these are the few important which you have already known in Hindu law. The same thing have to be narrated here with little bit known provision pertaining to the Muslim law. Thank you.